suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. In this video I want to talk about toxic fandom within the Halloween franchise. Now I do see a lot of videos of people talking about toxic fandom in, say, the Star Wars franchise or Marvel franchise. You know, there's toxic fandom everywhere, and it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. Maybe some people are just so passionate about their specific franchise that they just don't want people to talk bad about it, which is, it's not fantastic. It's not a good way to look, because you need to accept criticism where criticism is due. But at the same time, we know that you love the franchise, but just kind of calm down a little bit. A lot of the toxic fandom comes from just people who love the same thing but have different ideas about that same thing, different casting choices, different movies that they love, different movies that they hate. It could be anything. That's what toxic fandom is. It's a mixture of absolutely everything within that specific franchise when we're talking about franchise toxic fandom. When it comes to Halloween, now this is probably going to be a positive video, even though the title does say toxic fandom. When you look at the Halloween franchise, and even horror in general, there's not a lot of toxic fandom there. And I know there is toxic fandom, but there's not a lot. When you compare Halloween toxic fandom to Star Wars or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC EU universe, any other franchise, you would look at horror and think, well done. You know, you're watching some of the cheesiest movies in horror. You're probably watching some of the movies that nobody will ever watch because it's horror, but you appreciate each other. I think we all know that horror is looked down upon, and I think that's what maybe brings us all together. Not all of us, but most of us come together and we watch all the toxic fandom take place everywhere else, and we look at it and go, I'm glad we're not that guy, I'm glad we're not that girl. We just sit back and go, do you know what? Horror's horror, we accept it for what it is. But yes, there are some toxic people out there that just don't want you or anyone to have a good time, and they don't want to have a good time either. But when it comes to the Halloween franchise, the only things I can really think of when it comes to toxicity is maybe what's the best Halloween movie, or Halloween should have ended at whatever point, or most notably, is Michael Myers supernatural or is a human? You know, those are the high-end topics that we talk about in the Halloween franchise. Now, I talk about Halloween all the time on my YouTube channel, and the topics that I usually bring up that get a bit of toxic fandom is the likes of, where is the Halloween franchise going next? What Halloween movie do I like? The masks themselves, what's the best mask? What's the worst mask? And when it comes to toxicity, is that even a word? When it comes to that, we do have a lot of disagreements. You know, there are people who think that I am crazy for thinking the Halloween H2O mask is a really good mask. And yes, you know, they do call me names. They do think I don't know anything about the franchise because I like one of the masks that they don't like. And I sit back and go, do you know, there's a lot worse things happening in the world, and you're worried about me liking a mask that you don't even like. So yes, there are toxic people in our franchise, but I think because we are horror fans, most of the time we take it with a pinch of salt and we just let it go over our heads. Yes, we might have fun with them and talk back and say, yes, this, that, and the next thing, blah, blah, blah. But we try and do it in a light-hearted way, because we try and keep the toxic fandom to a minimum. This video has not spurred me on because I've experienced or read about toxic fandom within the Halloween franchise specifically, but when I see all the toxic fandom going about right now, because it's exploding right now all over the place, when I read about it all, I'm like, and the first thing I say to myself when I'm reading it is, thank goodness we don't see that in our little bubble in the Halloween franchise. And I say to myself every time I read it, I'm like, I don't see that in the Halloween franchise fan groups. I don't see that in the horror groups. Horror, Halloween, horror. I don't see it there. But everywhere I look, apart from horror and Halloween, it's just toxic fandom everywhere. My question to you guys, and this is horror and Halloween related, mostly Halloween, is leave your comments down below if you've read about any toxic fandom in the Halloween specific franchise. Let me know if you've been a victim of it, and be honest, let me know if you've maybe outstayed your welcome in comments or said things that you look back and go, do you know what, that was a little bit toxic, let me know. You know, I've done it myself out with the horror franchise. Leave your comments down below, guys. Let me know of some examples that you were part of or you've experienced. And as always, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.